Now, are you ready for our next speakers?
Honey, I don't think they're ready.
Well, you're going to get ready because our next speakers are the dynamic duo. They are Dexter and Tonya Scott. They are the upgraders, and their topic is the communication quadrant.
Now, you guys all know how important communication is in a marriage. So let me share you a little bit with you about the upgraders. Dexter and Tonya are known for their authentic and passionate delivery in everything they do. They are mindset development trainers and international speakers who spent years motivating and inspiring audiences in the thousands. They teach people how to upgrade their mindset, get out of their comfort zones, and live their lives to the fullest extent. After they both started their career in government, they decided to leave their comfort zone and experience the entrepreneurial path. Their reputation as gifted and inspirational speakers, trainers, and compassion-driven success mentors are consistently spreading throughout the business community. Their engagements and trainings are growing by numbers and numbers of people seeking financial growth, emotional restoration, mindset development, and spiritual transformation. They pull from their life lessons learned from personal trials and tribulations. They bring forth insightful, engaging, and stimulating experiences and empowering conversations. They've traveled the world on multiple occasions and being inspiring examples, transformational information, and personal stories that audiences can connect with and draw from. They're helping people by breaking the bondage over their minds, allowing them to live lives free of mediocrity, limiting beliefs, and the fear of failure. Everyone, welcome to the stage none other than Dexter and Tonya Scott, the upgraders.
Hi everyone, Dexter and Tonya here.
Hello.
Hey, hope you guys are doing well.
Yes,
we are
yes.
honored to be on the platform to be speaking at the Marriage Can Win Virtual Summit. We are the upgraders. Tonya and I are known for saying we may not know you, but we know what's in you.
Yes.
And we know that what's in you is a very effective marriage.
Woo, I love it.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah. Look, Tonya and I, we've been married for 19 years. We have 4 beautiful children. And we're going to talk to you about the communication quadrant. We think it's highly effective to be able to have effective communication. You want your marriage to blossom, then you need to understand how you communicate. Communication is absolutely everything.
It is everything.
Yeah.
It means a whole lot to any relationship.
It really does.
You know, but being here and being married, one of the things that Dexter and I had to do was to learn each other. So here we are talking about communication, but also involved in that is your own personalities.
Yeah.
It's your own influencing styles. And based on what they are has a lot to do with how you communicate, how you process information, how you perceive information.
That's good.
And all communication is information.
Right, the exchange of information.
The exchange of information is dialogue, right? So one of the things that Dexter and I did very early on in our marriage is we realized that learning and coming to really understand each other's style, each other's means of dialogue, it helped us to communicate with each other a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And now we want to share it with you. We've actually traveled around. We've been called even into ministries and so forth, different churches as well, to train. And we train groups. See, this right here, we're making it personal to us as a married couple. But honestly, when you come to understand influencing styles, when you come to understand your own personality, I don't care who you're in conversation with. You can be, you know, people on the job, your own children, definitely working in different aspects of ministry, perhaps. It could be anywhere, your workplace. I'm telling you, you come to understand it, then you understand your style and you begin to understand other people's. It actually helps you and teaches you how to better communicate. So we want to share just a few tips with you want to share some things with you right now just to kind of get you to possibly understand your own and even that of your spouse.
Yeah, and actually, as we go through this information, you'll see your boss, you see your spouse, you see your boss. We're in business, so Tonya and I, we do the same training with our organization, so they get a chance to learn who they're working with. This is absolutely phenomenal information that crosses different boundaries, and we think you're going to enjoy it. So we're going to pull up a document here. We want you guys to take a look at it, and we're going to dive into this a little bit, and want you guys to take a look at it. It's called Different Strokes for Different Folks. It's really good stuff. All right, so Tonya and I are going to walk you guys through this. So take a look at style 1, style 2, style 3, and style 4. We're going to go talk a little bit about different styles, and what we want you to do as a married couple is to see if you can find yourself in one of these styles.
Yeah. So typically what we would do is give you even a sheet where you would go through answering the questions. Once you tally up all the answers, it will help you to identify your style. Yeah. And many of you may find that you're really strong in multiple areas. So let me just go ahead and tell you about myself. Tonya, I'm a relator and I'm a thinker. They're both very strong. And typically when I take this, relator can be very high, but thinker is right there next, or vice versa. And oftentimes they're even about equal. But those are the two that I continuously score pretty high in when I go through my own process. You want to tell them yours?
Yeah, so mine is I'm a style 4. It's interesting. I'm a style 4 and I'm a style 3. Very interesting, right? She's the first two, I'm the second two. But I can go between all of them, but I stay more towards the 3 and 4. So very interesting. So you guys look at it, look over it, think about it. Husbands, how are you? Wives, how are you?
Yeah.
Right? So it's very interesting stuff.
It is interesting. Yeah. And then the thing to also realize is based on whatever's going on in your life at the time, there may be things that you're dealing with that may heighten one particular style in that particular, time of your life. Also, it may be just a circumstance that's going on as well, and it may heighten it, as well as people. I could be dealing with a particular person that brings about a different style at that time as well, but it's what pretty much comes out when I find myself in those types of interactions. So let's look at style 1.
It's very good.
The relator.
The relator. Go ahead, Tonya. You can hit.
I'm gonna hit relator. The relator. So who are they? They're like a feeler, a watcher, an indirect communicator. See, that's really big. So we've already told you here, as a married couple, I am that relator thinker. My husband is more so that director socializer. There are times I can see him in thinking, but more so that, and socializer is bigger for him. But here I am as a relator, an indirect communicator, but I'm married to a more direct communicator. Absolutely. Okay. Now, what does it mean to be that indirect communicator? We can go a little bit in depth in just a bit, but an indirect communicator, what do? We hold things. There may be something that I really want to say, but I don't say it. There may be things that I like to communicate, but I try to soften it a bit. I'm not as direct with what it is that I want to say because I'm mindful of the feelings. Right. It's that feeler side, those types of things. So we're watchers, we're indirect. Our motto, be cautious and make sure it works for everyone. Oh my goodness. I've told people before, I've done many talks about this, being a recovering people pleaser. My husband even said to me just the other day, he says, you know what, Tonya, you're going to have to stop making so many heart decisions.
Absolutely.
H-E-A-R-T, heart. He was like, heart. He says, you're not going to keep making all these hard decisions because yesterday something came up and it was like, I told you, don't keep making these hard decisions. But that's my personality style. Right. And it's an area that I'm having to grow in. I've been growing in once I came to really realize that this is who I am. But it's not always good in every situation. Stress theme, I give up. We'll do it your way. Yeah. Okay. I'm not even going to argue my point.
I'm good.
I'm not even going to tell you what I think. I'm okay, but have it your way. It's that people-pleasing aspect. Yeah. That's a relator. The thinker.
Well, let me say this too. Keep in mind, so relators, spouses, right? If your spouse is a relator, if they disagree with you, they might not say anything. Is that true?
Yeah.
If they disagree, they might not say anything, and then they'll normally just step down or step back and let you have your way.
Yeah.
It's just the natural progression. Style 2, the thinker.
And I love you saying that. It's so much to talk about. We
It
don't have
really
a lot of
is.
time, but I'm
It
telling
really
you,
is.
this right here is some good stuff, all right? So the thinker.
Yeah.
The thinker is a thinker, the watcher, also an indirect.
communicator.
So here I am carrying the indirect communicator personalities, okay? But as a thinker, we think, we watch, we really want to see and get it, you know? And oftentimes I would hear, even my husband would say to me, you know, you're overthinking, just answer, and this is something he came to realize about me. Because as we've been married now 19 years, but let me just take you through the first few years, okay? And he's like, I mean, I asked you a question. And I said, I know, I'm thinking, okay? And he would be so frustrated because he's like, answer. And I'm like, I don't know the answer yet.
So this is interesting. So spouses, just think about it. Here I asked Tonya a question. Do you ask your spouse a question and there's silence? And you're like, I know that I just asked it. Are you going to say anything? Right? So that's the point. They are processing. So if you are a relator and a thinker, if your spouse is a relator and a thinker and they're asking you something and your spouse just, they're thinking. So, and we'll tell you how we are getting through, how we've gotten through that and how it works for our marriage. But that is so interesting. Indirect communication.
It is. So what's our motto? I'll do it if it's logical and if it fits with what I know. Yeah. See, that's a comfort as well. If it fits with what I know, you know, but I don't want to step out of my comfort zone. I don't want to try it. You know, oh, you want me to really step out here and see if that'll work? But what if, okay, well, give me more information. So I was the one within our marriage when my husband was bringing things to me to say, come on, babe, let's look at this. Oh, and I would have to really think about it. And I'm taking up so much time. I'm not really communicating to him everything that I think or I feel because I'm testing and I'm trying to listen because I'm a watcher. Oh my goodness, are y'all hearing me? And what did it do? It calls for a lot of, you know, disputes.
Yeah, and it actually absolutely can happen.
You know,
yeah, it really can.
Where you kind of getting on each other's nerves a little bit. Then you begin to wonder, what in the world did I get myself into? Okay, but that is what happened with us. Yeah. And our stress theme is, I don't want to talk about it now. Why? So what am I doing? I'm running. Let me just lay this aside. I'm like dealing with it. More of that indirect communication, but that's pretty much how those two styles behave. Who can relate to that? Can you relate to that?
Yeah, and you know, as we talk about it, I know that I said I'm a 4, which is socializer, but I do a lot of 2. I've done a lot of 2 in the past, but I recognize it. So the benefit of being able to, you know what, I can't table this. Let's talk about it. So there's wisdom in tabling it and talking about it. So we're talking about more effective communication. So style 3, the thinker, that is the director, thinker, doer, direct communicator. So the director is when something hits their head, it's going to come out of their mouth, most likely. So it's not going to be processed very well in that they just going to say it, right? And it might be an abruption to a relator or even a thinker, like, whoa, come on, you know. It might be in your face kind of stuff. So I mean, so spouses, think about it. Is your spouse, are you a director? Do you say things and you just kind of, and then you think about it later? I don't know. Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
The motto: if it works, do it. Not a lot of communication. If it works, do it. Let's go.
Ahead, try.
Get it done. Let's go. I mean, it just no hard moments or anything like that. Let's just get it done. Right? Very interesting. Yeah, so the stress thing is, that's completely wrong. Do it my way.
It is.
It's hilarious.
It is.
Oh my God.
It is.
It's funny. So I mean, even and I probably won't get into it now just for time purposes, but even at my boss at an old job that I had, my boss was a director. And I had to go to my boss knowing that she was a director. So that's more in depth of what we talk about. How do you deal with the other styles in communication.
And even as we're talking to you right now, that's really the purpose of what it is that we're saying to you. We're giving you some tips. We're telling you, it's giving you some background information, but we also are able to get into the strengths and weaknesses of those styles. We're able to talk to you to say, if this is your style, you need to downplay here. You need to increase in these areas. And if you're talking to this particular style, not yours, but you're speaking to that style, then this is what they're looking for and how to come to them. So those are some of the things that we get into when we actually bring this and train about this throughout, you know, the different places that we've been. But right now, we just want you to know that your communication is highly important.
Really
How
is.
we communicate with each other as husband and wife means everything. And one thing that I'm known for saying is, in any conflict, typically everybody's right and everybody's wrong. But everybody, those two people in conflict, or those two groups in conflict, whatever it may be, if we really talk, we ultimately do want some of the same things. But what are they? Let's arrive there.
Right.
And then it is a matter of hearing and listening, you know, or
That's
listening and hearing, if you will.
Right.
But that's what we want you to do. So hear about this other style. Now this is where he's strong at.
I'm strong.
He's strong in a 4, okay?
Kind of, you know, float. So style 4, socializer, feeler. Interesting. Tonya's a relator. She's a feeler also.
Yep.
Doer, direct communication. I mean, we just let it out. Now, I am, however, through wisdom, I just don't let everything fly out. I have to process it. I go into thinker. So yeah, it's absolutely that's
when
that's
you
what
come
it
to
is.
understand and know
Yeah,
it.
you know which areas you need to work on. So the motto is try it and see what happens. Let's go, man. Let's just go. You know, let's go. Let's go. I mean, what do we have to lose?
And
right?
that was him. It still is.
It still is, right? Stress thing. This is ridiculous. Who needs it or you? Oh, I'm still there. Let's just be honest. We're in business. We're in business with people, right? And some people just get on my nerves. I'm like, okay, well, I'm done with you. You know, it's okay.
This is so funny.
You know, but spouses, we don't do that. I mean, we don't do that. So, all right, so guys,
but think about
yeah.
that. Thank you for saying that. Again, we're talking spouses. We just kind of really bringing this into a husband and a wife, right?
Yeah.
But look at that. This is ridiculous. Who needs it or you? Can you imagine? Or for many of you out there watching this, and you've identified that, you know what, I do feel like I'm a socializer kind of person, where you think big, really you think big picture. We may can even go to another slide and just kind of give you a little bit more detail about each. But here's the thing. If that is you and what it is that you do, then what wouldn't you want to do to your spouse? Not make him or her feel like this is ridiculous. Right. Who needs it or you? Right. You see? But if that is your partner's style, then you know that that's their stress thing. So it's not really personal. It's just how they're handling it. Sure. So this is where we've been able to come up together to be the husband and wife that we are. Being able to communicate as we do is because I'm like, I know he's not meaning that. But at the same time, it's times because of me having that emotional side as I do, that I do and I have through the years. I'm telling you, it's been more in this last decade. That's even too long, I think. More so, I think, even in the last 5 years of our marriage, that is strengthened even the more. Yeah, it has. You know what I mean? But prior to that, I would take things so personally. And he began to understand, where is this coming from? It's a whole nother conversation there. But where is this coming from? How did this get so deeply rooted within you? How is it, Tonya, that your influencing style is this way? Oh, we need to get rid of that. And that's what we've been doing. And it's just allowed us to become stronger, closer, better communicators. There's nothing we won't talk about. There's nothing that we won't bring to each other. And because we have an understanding of each other's style and the way each person processes and perceives information, typically, it's allowed us to be a lot more comforting with each other. It has. And even a lot more, and I'll say this, and you tell me if you agree, tolerant.
Yes, absolutely. and that's a good word.
Yeah,
especially
it is.
as it relates to spouses, right? It does. So we're going to get to one more slide,
You want
right?
to go to it?
Yeah, let's go to it really quickly. And so take a look at this quadrant. Of course, we're not going to go all over it, but we want you guys to just really take a look at this. So look at the indirect, slower pace. Look at the relator. You want to hit on the relator?
Absolutely.
Really quickly? Yeah.
So again, my style, indirect, slower pace. So this gets to even think about decisions. So let's break it down. Babe, I want a new car. What do you like? I want a new house. I'm ready to move. Where would you want to go? And I share this story often. Dexter and I going down the highway. I can still remember where we were. It was around Greensboro, North Carolina. And he's a big thinker. Okay, let's just look to the right of relator. There you see socializer.
Right, look at socializer.
Look at that. Come down here. Dramatizes.
Readily dreams.
Readily
and
dreams
envisions.
and envisions.
So I do that all the time.
Look at that. And look, he's a direct communicator and he's at a faster pace, right? So he's moving faster. You see that? So this is what he's doing, but I'm over here slower and he's asking me. And so I remember him asking me a question and he wanted my opinion about, I don't know, I think we saw like this huge building, maybe it was for sale, and he's wanting to know what would we do with this building. And so I'm sitting in the car like, okay. And I'm like, I'm
taking her too fast.
I'm trying to think. Long story short, and I'm gonna tell you, it got to a point I remember on that ride because we had already gone through all of this. These are things that we had already learned. These are things that we were already beginning to teach. I'm now like, don't think so hard. Let me just tell him. Now it's like if he asked me, let me try to get into where he is and just dream big. Because if you're that thinker style, as I am, what do I need? More information. And that's still a slower pace.
Slower pace.
I'm methodical, accuracy, dislike involvement. That's good. Because sometimes I'm like, just give me a minute. I don't need no help right now.
I'm good. I got
And then over here, I'm working slow. So that's it. But over here, tell me about yourself, babe. What were you needing?
Yeah. So here's the thing. So the example Tonya just gave, when I saw that building, I'm visualizing, I'm dreaming big, right? You see, I get others caught up in his or her ideas and dreams, right? So I put it out there. So what I'm looking for, what we've learned throughout our marriage, what I learned about myself, I just need acknowledgement that she heard my idea.
That's big.
And you know what's interesting is her needing more information and me just dreaming. If I'm like, Tonya, look, that building is $300,000. What would you do with that building? All she needs to do is say, you know what, baby, I don't know. I really don't know. That's interesting. And I hear that and I'm like, okay, that's all I need. But when we first got married, it was just
silence.
I'm like, Tonya, did you not hear what I just said? And,
I'm like,
so we learned, guys. So you learn it too. It's about more effective communication, right? So we learned that about each other. And I've got to know too, when I'm going out there real big, I got to know that my wife needs more detail. So sometimes I have to she reels me back in. So if you're like us, thinker, socializer, the socializers just throw it out there big. The thinkers reel it back in. And we got to recognize that they both work together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just sitting here thinking, I said, one thing I would love for everyone to know is regardless of what your style is, honestly, everybody they're all good.
All good.
There's strengths in every single last one of them. There's strength in the director, the thinker, the relator, the socializer. And then there's areas for development within all of them as well. No one is perfect, but you can perfectly come together for any level of resolve. And that right there is what Dexter and I have learned. And it's been such a beautiful thing. So I know one thing that I really want to impress upon everyone who's listening, who's spending this time with us right now, is your communication with your spouse is vital. Respecting one another, the differences that we have, the differences of opinions, and I'm sure you've heard it before. We come to a place where we learn how to agree to disagree. Even for what my husband just shared when he says, Tonya, you know, I just need it just for me to engage in the conversation. And then one thing that he's learned from me is I need to know that you're hearing me, that you understand. Like I could say something and then he just sits in quiet and he doesn't say. It's just like this. See how that sounds? And I'm like, do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, talk to me.
Yeah, if I say it, yeah, you know, Tonya, I do understand what you're saying. That just that alone.
That alone, and then some, and I'm gonna tell you, can I be real? Can I be even, you know, and I might can speak this for some of my sisters out there even, but it's like another good thing, and this is what we talked about is now give it back to me. Because to be understood, it even shows through the communication because he would give it back to me. And this has even been recently. We've been talking and I'm like, do you understand? Yes, I understand. And he repeated back to me and it was like, okay. So it was like, okay, we do. Doesn't necessarily mean he agrees. Doesn't necessarily mean that he sees things exactly the same way, but he did understand my perspective. And that right there meant a lot to me. And it allowed us to continue to move forward in our conversation, in our decision making.
Absolutely. So guys, Tonya and I, we just gave you a brief overview of what we do, what it is that we teach is the communication quadrant. Once you learn how to communicate with your spouse and you guys understand one another, it just falls right into place. It does. So look, we would love to connect with you. You know, you can find Tonya and I, we are on Facebook, right? At Dexter L. Scott, at Tonya Joyner -Scott, and at The Upgraders.
Yes.
And also on Instagram, at Dexter L. Scott, at Tonya J. Scott, and at The Upgraders. And our YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Upgraders. And we would love to give you guys a free gift. You want to give them the address?
Absolutely. Upgradersgiveaway.com.
Yeah.
Upgraders with an S, upgradersgiveaway.com. Yeah. And that's pretty much a nice little ebook that we have, 11 Steps to Success. We are the Upgraders. Our desire is to see people live an upgraded life in every aspect of your life. We want to see it in your relationships. We want you to see it in your health. You know, we want you to see it emotionally. We want you to see it financially, Absolutely. You know. So there are 11 steps. And oftentimes those principles that we learn, they are intertwined throughout all aspects of your life. So this is just a giveaway that we have, a little ebook that we put together. And we love being able to offer it to people. So if you like a copy of it, just go to upgradersgiveaway.com and grab your copy.
Absolutely. And guys, we want you to know that marriage can win. Guys, thank you so much for listening to us. Hope you got a lot out of it. And we are the Upgraders. We may not know you,
but we know what's in you.
We'll see you next time.